Day two of this test match in brilliant Dharmashala. And once again, we've had some very good cricket. India have done what they had to. They've gone so far ahead of England that I don't think there's too many comebacks left. It's looking like 4-1, but you never know. And the reason I say so is this. The moment the spinners had taken 10 wickets to get England bowled out for 218, it was always going to be advantage India. Then the 2 centuries. And as a result of that and another partnership between 2 youngsters, they've taken the score to 473. India lead 255. I will say this right up front to Dinesh Karthik. He said yesterday on Cricbuzz Chatter that India should look to get a lead of about 250. One point it looked they may not get there, but his good friend Jasprit Bumrah blocked and took them to 255. So well done, DK. Where do you think the game is, in a nutshell?
Harsha, I like the fact that you're being kind to me, but I just want to tell all viewers that Harsha had a massive FOMO problem. He was basically in his room. He didn't like how good my background was, so he decided he has to come back here and show us how good the background is. People need to know, Harsha, the real you, the FOMO you who wants to compete. And I like that you've come out now. Sun is shining on your face. You look bright as ever, just like what India is feeling today. Very bright, very happy. I think they'd be very happy. A bit of a starter through the middle. Though I think at the end, just that partnership between Kuldeep and Bumrah must have really annoyed the Englishmen. And just the way the Indians batted, 550s in the innings so far, a very, very healthy lead. And just like you said, I do think India has taken off to a place which is in very, very safe waters. Although, we have to understand that in Hyderabad, we thought that till they came back, but it's not always going to happen, is it, Harsha?
Yeah, that was 190. This is already 255. I like the fact that India tried to seize the initiative early on. In fact, at one point, India were going at above 4.5 and over. A couple of just sort of wait and see overs from Shubman and Rohit early on. And then they took on the fast bowlers. And I mean, you've got to show respect for age, DK. That's what I tell you every time when you're chatting to me. You've got to show respect for age. But someone has to tell people like Shubman Gill and the others that you've got to show some respect to the great Jimmy Anderson. I mean, they're charging down and hitting him up. Sarfaraz did that as well. And the moment they did that, you got the feeling that India had come out with the intent purpose to try and take the game away. I thought, I mean, Rohit's 100, DK, you know the person well, you've watched him so much. I got the feeling when he got to 100 that he probably wasn't sweating also. It was just Rohit,
Absolutely. It was just good to watch him bat. Not just watch him bat in the sense, what I mean by that is how calm he was throughout. Second ball, second over of the day, goes downtown to Shoaib Bashir, even though mid on halfway. He's a very confident man, and it came through in this innings. And you get the feeling that he's behaving a lot like a big brother. When I see him, I never get that feeling from him, but I can see a lot of the young boys are actually gravitate towards him because of the vibes that he gives out. Not just with his batting, but just his calm demeanor, the way he goes about. He's got a sense of humor about him. And it's just nice to see Rohit, notch up and yet another 100. And after becoming captain, it's just good to see that second 100 of this Test series. To say that turnaround since the time he's become an opener in Test cricket as well. It's been quite extraordinary, actually.
I mean, is it 400 as an opener? Since he became captain, his record as an opener is fantastic. In India, he's averaging above 60 as an opener, which puts him second only to Vijay Hazare, depending on what kind of cutoff you use. But I like the idea of elder brother. Look who's around him. Little Jaiswal, little Gill, little Jurel, little Sarfaraz, little Padikkal. I just wonder if he's thinking, where have all my old friends gone? I'm surrounded by all these kids. But I think just from the body language, just from seeing the happiness around everywhere, I get the feeling it's a very happy side. And I think Rohit has played a big part in that. I also liked the evolution of Shubman Gill. Now, you saw at the start of the series, and you were there for 4 of the Test matches. Ollie Pope started off with a bang. He's gone a bit downhill since. Whereas I like how Shubman Gill has started to own number 3. And I mean, he's only got 300s, and he'll probably make some spectacular ones. But he looked so much in control in this century.
And sport is all about confidence, Harsha, and you can see more than the 100 that he got in the middle of the Test series. It was that match-defining knock in Ranchi that's going to be a very pivotal moment in his career, which made him believe that he is the man, even in Test cricket, under pressure, they can depend on him. I think that knock is going to be a very special one for him, one for Jurel as well, but more so for Gill with the weight of the kind of baggage that he carried to take the team across. And you can see when he's come now, the confidence just flowing through. You said it yesterday as well, just the way he batted in the limited time, the shots that he played, very confident, very assured. And today he came out there and played what you can call a statement innings, just the way he took on a James Anderson, the kind of shots that he played. Um, in many ways, very dismissive post, whenever he came for a spell. And that was good to see. To be fair, I think James Anderson has got the better of him a few times, but it was good to see him throw it James Anderson and say, "Here you go. I have a few shots to play as well," and that was really good. Yet another 100, and you're right. I think we're going to. This is just the start of his career, and we're going to see many more. We're going to be discussing in Cricbuzz Chatter over and over again as to how good he's been. The number three slot seems to be very good for him. He will have his challenges as a number three. I think in conditions where the ball is seaming, with the one that comes back in, will always be one that troubles him because he plays so much white ball cricket. He has his strengths, and at times that becomes his weakness too.
He'll get daddy hundreds in the future. At the moment, there's only one person who's unhappy with Gill's innings, and that is Senior Gill, who was very, very happy with the fact that he got 100, but wouldn't have been happy with the fact that he didn't go on and make it a senior 100. But I think it was a wonderful innings, and I think what those two did, they were unhurried, they were unruffled, there were hardly any chances. The odd one, there was one at leg slip that should have been taken, but not that many chances. And almost with a sense of purpose and ease, they started to take the game away from England. The chance came straight after lunch. Ben Stokes, Ben Stokes comes in and bowls. I mean, how do you bowl a first ball like that? But he did, and then Anderson got Gill out. It set the stage for two youngsters, and DK, they batted a little differently. Young Padikkal walks out. I think you've seen him much more than I have. I think from what we saw today, he fancies pace a little bit more than he fancies spin, because he seemed to just go into a shell against spin. But he was 30 of 31 balls, just stroking freely, not afraid of anything at all. Then Sarfaraz takes over. And I think, we talk about the last nail, banging that last nail in. I thought those two kids did that.
Oh, I think just the way Padikkal lines up to play fast bowling tells you that very side on, likes to play on the offside a lot more, big back lift. If he just gets bat on ball more often than not, he gets a boundary. But interestingly, Harsha, he's actually someone who attacks spin a lot. Today, he was very docile. He just
Mm.
took his time, and understandably so. It is his debut. He needs that time. You always at the start of an inning, at the start of a Test career, it's not that easy in terms of how you control your nerves. And this is one such occasion which probably was pretty daunting for anybody, and even more so for Devdutt Padikkal. But it's good to see him grab the opportunity. Some of the shots that he played with the fast bowlers, be it the cover drive, be it the off drive, be it the back foot punch. I think he looked very solid. Yes, there was the odd edge, which I think will always be the way that whenever he does get into trouble, that could be the one because the way he lines up. But it is just good to see him continue his form. He's averaging close to 100 in Ranji Trophy this year alone, and he's just taken over that form. And I can tell you this: he's someone who actually takes down spinners. He likes to play big shots, and that's
Mm.
why he actually batted for about 80, 90 strike rate. And today was one of his quieter innings. As he progresses in his Test career, I'm sure we'll see a lot more fiery innings, so to say. But it was good to see him bat. On the other hand, Sarfraz started the other way, took time, but then when he got going, he played some wonderful shots of Mark Wood, especially.
Those shots of Mark Wood were stunning. I mean, he got 56 of 60 at one point. As you said, it started very slowly, and then he just took off. I like the straight drive that he hit, boom, straight back over the bowler's head. Complete disrespect for someone like Jimmy Anderson. But I like the pull shot. He plays the uppercut. I've seen him play the uppercut before. That's how when he was playing for RCB, he sort of charged into our drawing rooms by playing those uppercut shots, and Chris Gale lifting him up, and that sort of romance that started over there. I wanted to see how he reacted when Mark would crank the pace up, and I thought that pull shot. I love that shot. In many ways, to me, there were many good shots today, but that was a defining shot for me.
It is. You can say a very, very confident shot. Also, you need to understand, Asha. I think his strength still lies using the pace of the ball. It also tells you the nature of this pitch. Really slow. There's not too much bounce. So then the batter thinks differently in trying to take down a bowler who's bowling 140 clicks. I think the story will be very different on slightly bouncier, slightly skiddier pitches. But this one was a pitch where fast bowling in terms of real sharp bowling, to play shots of it is actually easier. And sometimes playing the bowlers like James Anderson can be tougher because he hits a better length. Mark Wood kind of bowler in a pitch and a black soil pitch like this, which doesn't have too much pace, can be good to bat on. But having said all that, I think Sarfaraz Khan batted beautifully. You can see that pull shot was something he was waiting for. Again, for him, it's a bit of a statement. There's always going to be this, question mark. How will he play fast bowling because of the way he lines up? And it was good to see him take on that spell of Mark Woods. He played all sorts of shots, one down the ground, the uppercut, the pull shot, the hook shot, as you can call it. And their partnership, I think, was one that will put a smile on Rahul Dravid's face. There was a bit of a stutter in the middle order, but it was good to see them stitch together a real good partnership.
I heard it said, how did Devdutt Padikkal turn things around and get back into very good form? Whether it was Vijay Hazare, where he scored a lot of runs, whether it was Ranji Trophy, apparently because he was able to play Tamil Nadu early and get big runs.
Must admit he got a really good 100, but not very early in the Ranji Trophy this year. But he did play a really good knock. That was a turning pitch as well, and you can see the man's got talent.
You're talking about all these youngsters, and since in my eyes you're a youngster too, I'm going to put you in the hot spot. I was fascinated by how these young players play when they approach a landmark. Personally, I mean, I've never been close to landmarks like those, but I've always wondered why there's so much importance assigned to landmarks and suddenly everyone changes. Look at what these youngsters did. Yashasvi Jaiswal with a 4, Shubman Gill with a boundary, Sarfaraz with a 4, Padikkal with a 6. The landmarks don't matter. Tell us, young man. Tell us what's it about this generation?
I think landmarks are nowadays looked at as an opportunity to score a boundary. In a way, it was started by what Sehwag told Gambhir, like when you're close to 97, 98, just go for a big shot. That's the best way to get to 100. And I think these boys, because of their skill sets that they possess in white cricket, fancy themselves and back themselves to play a big shot as soon as the field is slightly up. The general tendency is when, as we come closer to a landmark, the opponent captain obviously tries and sets an attacking field and gives you the opportunity for a boundary. But the best part is before they used to still wait for that bad ball because they believe that if you have got 45, you can still get to 50. If you've got 95, you will get to 100. Take your time. But nowadays, the boys seem to say, why? I know I can play a big shot and I will back myself to do it. So it just gives you a peek into what the new age cricketers, the next gen cricketers, if you can call them, how they think about this game. And that's why you will see a lot of times people get out as well playing these shots, but at no point should you discourage them to do it because that is also their biggest strength, and that is what is going to make Test cricket really interesting as well.
I think you make a very valid point. The field comes in sometimes close to a landmark. As you said, the traditional thinking is, maybe they're worried about the landmark. Maybe they'll play too safe. Let's get the field. And I said, nah. On the other hand, the big brother that you talked about, the elder brother, played out a maiden over on 99 when Rohit Sharma was in. Just played out a simple maiden over, tuck, 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 no rush. Then took a single, kept strike. So difference in approach. But I'm enjoying the way these youngsters are batting. I mean, there's a lot of people saying, I wonder how they'll play in England. I wonder how they'll play in Australia. We'll find out, won't we? For the moment, let's celebrate the way they're playing, where they are. And far too often, I think, in our cricket subculture, we're worried about what might happen rather than celebrate what has happened. And I think today was a day to celebrate a lot of these youngsters as well. There are a couple of good youngsters in the England side as well. But I do think, and I think we might have talked about it, DK, early in the series. If you prepare good pitches, then the difference in the bowling standards will get accentuated. On
Absolutely.
on dust bowls, everybody will look the same. And I thought England's bowling looked thin today.
The fact that the quality of the bowling is seen more on flatter pitches, and it's there for all to see. Shoaib Bashir bowling 44 overs, picking the 4 wickets, but you can see the economy at which they're going. Indians, yes, putting pressure back on them, but also we always speak sometimes on dust bowls. The quality and pedigree of a bowler is not really seen because the general tendency is come bowl flat and just you hit the length. Everything else will happen from the pitch. Whereas on a pitch like what we're seeing in Dharamshala, you need real skill to get a batter out. And we saw that with Kuldeep and Ashwin. And today, Shoaib Bashir did really well. But the rest of the bowling, I a lot of the time did look very, very thin. The fast bowlers tried. They really did try. They set different fields. They bowled to a bouncer plan. Jimmy Anderson bowled outside of them into the stump, did everything they could. But again, the skill sets of the spinners not really, putting pressure back on India. The fast bowlers tried for the wickets and hence went for runs. But overall, I think Indian batting came through, in all ways possible, positive, just attacking opposition, playing shots over the infield consistently, be it fast or spin, and that was great to see.
I have a little bit of sympathy here for England because they didn't have spinners to pick. They picked young spinners. It's a bit like India going to England in the first half of the English season. No Bumrah, no Shami, but just taking a couple of youngsters who've played 6 or 7 Ranji Trophy matches and saying, right, go win it for us. So I think Stokes has done well to bring out that much, or maybe the spinners have just tried hard. But today I thought the difference was accentuated. So 2 games, 2 days rather into this game. What lies ahead? Let's go fast forward. Right, okay. Kuldeep and Bumrah have already frustrated them. They've played about 17, 18 overs almost. I love watching Bumrah bat. And we will talk about Bumrah and Kuldeep, whose batting is. I'm enjoying watching Kuldeep bat as well. But is there any way back in your view for England? You mentioned briefly about the 190 comeback from Hyderabad. Is there any? Do you think they've got a chance still?
No, Asha. This pitch obviously will get, will aid more spin, and I do think the Indian bowlers have the skill set to again pick 10 wickets. And yes, they did it in Hyderabad. I'm not going to say no, and they did it beautifully as well. They need a couple of big hundreds. That's the truth. If they want to put any sort of pressure back on India, that deficit of 250 needs to be cleared by two batters. Only if that happens does England have any chance of coming back in this test. And it's not going to be easy. As the game goes, it gets slower, and that would mean playing shots would become tougher. Might get more turn, but more importantly, the pitch gets slower, and it's not the kind of pace that England batters are used to, and that could frustrate them. You can see Kuldeep and Bumrah, obviously, when they took time, applied themselves. There was nothing literally beating the bat, which told you that at the end of the day, if you do apply yourself on this pitch, there's still runs to make. So the English batters will be hoping that's something that they do and try and put as much pressure. But what do I feel right now? I do think India are way ahead in this game to do anything silly.
Yeah, I ran into Kuldeep the day before the series started in Hyderabad, just after the BCCI awards function. And every time I meet him, I ask him about his batting because I realize he doesn't have this. He's not a power hitter in the white ball game, but I think he's got batting ability. And every time I meet him, I said, "बेटे बैटिंग कैसे चल रही है आपकी? बैटिंग कैसे चल रही है? Bowling तो निकल जाएगी." And he said, "बड़ी practice की है मैंने इस बार आप देखोगे." And he was very bullish about his batting. And I think if he's going to be batting 9 or thereabout, he's a very, very handy batter. But hats off to Jasprit Bumrah. I don't. You're a bigger expert. I don't know if batting comes naturally to him, but he's trying so hard. I mean, forget that 29 that he took in that Stuart Broad over. But you can see how he's worked on his defense. He's trying hard. I love people who try and get better at whatever they do, and I've a lot of admiration for the way Bumrah's trying to work on his batting.
Tells you a bit about Bumrah's character. Asha. He doesn't give it away just because things look ugly or things are looking hard. He wants to do it his way, irrespective of what other people think about him. It shows through his bowling action as well. I'm sure a lot of people, when he started bowling, must have said, "This is not how you can bowl with just 6 steps and short run up and giving everything at the end. You're going to get injuries, whatnot." But he just stuck to his method and comes through with his batting as well. No, and I also feel like it's important to make this point here. I think there have been 5 debutants, and we can speak a lot about them at the end of the series. But for me, from the ones who've been playing Test cricket for some time for India, the find and the pick of the series has to be Kuldeep Harsha. Not just with the ball, but also the attitude is shown with the bat. He's willing to fight. He's consistently frustrated England, and I've really enjoyed what he's brought to the table in terms of attitude, and that is something India will be very, very happy with.
And I'm delighted you said that as well. By the way, today is 8th of March. It's International Women's Day. I can tell you for a fact, being married to a really proud woman, I don't think they like the idea of one International Women's Day. They just want every day to be equal. But it's a day to celebrate, and both DK and I, in spite of being a couple of generations apart, are married to extraordinary, remarkable women who've enriched us. So for all you women out there, may every day be International Women's Day. So I speak on behalf of DK and Deepika as well. But DK, if you want to
Oh, I
mention.
mean, I don't think it can be better put. Absolutely. I was just going to say that I also feel the same. I don't know why they only have March 8th as today. I do feel that it's something that is worth celebrating every day. And people who have strong women in their life always, realize the importance of, how importance of having somebody like that around you. And I think you and I are blessed that way. So, happy International Women's Day to everybody. May it be a good day, and may it be every day as well.
Yeah, and all I will tell people is change that expression. Behind every successful man, there is a woman. That's all nonsense. There is nobody behind. Everyone walks alongside. So I hope we can stay there. So So there you are.
But
Then we've come to
there
the
was
end
one
of.
woman behind me, Harsha. I need to tell you also. There's one woman behind me. A couple of days ago, I met her. Not behind me. She stood behind me in the photo I met. And we had great things to speak about your voice. Her name was Shreya Ghoshal, and I hope you know. I just want to rub it in a little bit more. She's tweeted saying she found the conversation very. She's ready for a musical adda with me for
Hello,
people with
hello.
good voices.
Has the line dropped a little bit? Hello, hello, DK. Hello, hello, hello,
No,
DK.
and she just mentioned saying it is for people with good voices, Harsha. Just telling you. I know you're the voice of cricket, but
Look at him. Look at him beaming. Here are two fanboys from different from different generations. But yeah, I think it's good. I think she wanted to make you feel happy. You would have felt a little rejected otherwise. This
I'll
was
give you the invite, Harsha, for sure. You can join us.
goodbye, goodbye. On Cricbuzz Chatter, these young people, I tell you, no respect shown for age these days. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Maybe tomorrow will be the last day. Maybe there'll be a fourth day. But I think it's fair to say at this stage that it's going to be 4-1. We'll see. DK and I will be back on Cricbuzz Chatter tomorrow evening as well. DK, don't watch tweets. Don't read all your mentions. If there's any other nice mentions, just keep them to yourself. We'll see all of you tomorrow. Bye.